Welcome to Startup Brainframe, where we explore cross-domain synthesis for startups who want to build the future.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into someone, well, incredibly fascinating from modern cinema, strategically speaking anyway, Jimmy McGill.
Better known as Saul Goodman, of course.
Right. And our goal here is really to look at his actions purely from a cinematic strategic view. What can we actually learn about adaptability, negotiation, resourcefulness?
And we're going to use a specific lens for this, a behavioral model. Saul is, he's almost a perfect textbook example of the promoter personality type from the process communication model.
Yeah, exactly. Promoters are typically defined by being incredibly adaptable, great with people, excellent communication skills.
But there's a core need there too, isn't there?
Absolutely. A deep psychological need for excitement, could be mental, could be physical. And here's the crucial part. When they get stressed, their go-to is often breaking the rules, manipulating the situation. And you see that with Saul, well, constantly.
Okay, so just for clarity, we'll stick to calling him Saul today. And we're pulling scenes from both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, so we won't be strictly chronological.
No, we're jumping around to focus on the lessons, the high leverage moments. It's about tracing the, let's say, the strategic rise and ultimately the emotional fall of this really high agency person.
Unpacking the genius.
Yeah.
And the serious downsides.
The critical liabilities, yeah. Let's start with maybe the highest stakes scene imaginable.
Right. Let's jump into Breaking Bad. The first kidnapping. Walter and Jesse have him out in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
He's literally facing death. And somehow, like mid-threat, he just flips the entire dynamic.
He's control. It's stunning.
He stops pleading for his life and starts, laying out terms of service.
It's an absolute masterclass in negotiating under, well, paralyzing fear. He doesn't beg. He instantly goes to assume the sale, you could say. He starts firing off these small, specific, kind of assumptive questions. He's gathering info fast and nudging these guys threatening to kill him towards a professional commitment.
Turning a potential murder into, basically, onboarding a new client.
Precisely. He's reframing the whole interaction from threat to transaction.
That speed of questioning is key, isn't it? It feels like he's running live A/B tests for survival.
That's a great way to put it. He's testing their resolve, their actual intentions, and adapting his pitch with every little bit of feedback he gets.
So the brain, under that kind of crisis, it just goes into overdrive.
Often, yes. It defaults to rapid pattern recognition, looking for any way out. Saul's genius in that moment isn't really his legal knowledge, it's his sheer speed of iteration. He's outthinking them while staring down a gun barrel.
So the lesson for, say, a founder in a crisis meeting isn't literally avoiding a grave, thankfully.
Hopefully not.
But it's about how you probe, the quality, the speed of your questions when things get tough that really dictates the outcome, doesn't it? Even when it feels existential.
Absolutely. The quality of the probe decides the result. And speaking of outrageous situations, let's talk about Jimmy in and out. This idea Saul floats. Hiring someone specifically to serve prison time for your crimes.
It sounds completely insane when you say it like that.
It is insane. But watch him pitch it. He takes this morally bankrupt, totally illegal concept and frames it like it's just a necessary business expense, a logical solution.
He makes the absurd sound like the obvious choice. That's pure promoter, isn't it? Weaponized communication.
Textbook promoter. Strategically, what he's doing is setting up a short-term arbitrage deal based on, well, hijacking someone's reward system.
Explain that.
The person taking the fall gets this dopamine hit, quick, easy money. And that rush lets them ignore long-term costs. Years lost, prison dangers.
They trade the future for the present.
Exactly. It's a transaction built entirely on ignoring reality down the line.
And that's a powerful analogy for founder shortcuts, isn't it? That temptation for the quick win.
It really is. The lesson is crystal clear. You have to use second-order thinking. Always. Weigh that short-term buzz, the quick cash, the vanity metric against the long-term, often hidden costs.
Because otherwise you're just borrowing from your future self with crazy interest rates.
You end up paying for today's win with future pain. Now let's look at reframing again, but in Better Call Saul. The Tuco encounter after the skateboard scam goes wrong.
Right. Another life or death situation.
Again. And Saul steps into this incredibly volatile negotiation. Tuco is furious, ready to kill.
And Saul somehow talks him down. Not completely off the hook, but manages the damage.
Masterfully. He shifts the potential outcome from certain death, which is, messy and permanent for Tuco, too.
Right, consequences.
Down to a manageable harm, one broken leg for each of the skateboarders.
He's not arguing the facts or even Tuco's anger, What's he actually negotiating with?
He's negotiating with Tuco's internal narrative. His need to feel, well, justified. Saul shifts the frame from someone has to die to let's decide on a controlled punishment.
Ah, so it allows Tuco to feel powerful, righteous, even fair in his own way, while stopping short of murder.
Exactly. He gives the aggressor a morally acceptable or at least defensible off-ramp.
That's fascinating, that different narrative that feels right to the other side.
It's fundamental. In business negotiations, you're often not just winning an argument on logic. You're rewiring the other person's perception of what's fair or reasonable, giving them a story they can tell themselves to justify saying yes.
It's about perception control, really.
Completely.
Okay.
And nobody gets perception control like Saul, especially when we look at the Huel situation.
Ah, yes. Huel, his bodyguard, hits a cop. Looks like an open and shut case, right?
Yeah.
Guaranteed conviction.
The normal legal channels, dead end.
Yeah.
So Saul just sidesteps the entire system.
How does he do that? It's elaborate.
He manufactures this whole narrative, makes Huel out to be practically a saint. There's the trip, paying people to write heartfelt letters.
Flooding the assistant district attorney's office.
Right. And then Saul himself talked to the ADA, not as the flashy lawyer.
No, he's a calm priestly figure.
Exactly. A sanctimonious cleric pleading for mercy. It's pure theater.
So it's manipulation through narrative.
Narrative weaponization. He's not fighting the legal facts, he's fighting the prosecutor's incentives. He knows exactly what story, what moral signal to plant in the ADA's mind to make dropping the charges seem like the reasonable, even virtuous thing to do.
That's applied theory of mind, isn't it? Knowing how someone else thinks and feels and using it.
Precisely. He anticipates her moral framework and exploits it.
Now, ethically, how can founders use that kind of insight?
Ethically, it's about genuinely putting yourself in your customer's shoes. Understanding their real pain points, their hidden needs, maybe even their professional incentives. And then only commit to helping if your solution truly aligns with solving their problem within their context, their moral view. No manipulation.
Gotcha. Understanding motivations, not just exploiting them.
Right. And that links to another key Saul trait, operating brilliantly under constraints.
Okay, like the TV commercial scene. His professional idea gets shot down.
Yeah, he needs a specific shot, needs that American flag in the background for his low-budget ad, but he has no budget, no crew.
So what does he do? He pivots instantly.
Doesn't complain. He hires a student film crew from the local university.
Cajoles the teachers, gets access to...
And basically sneaks the shoot, bending all sorts of rules to get that one shot he needs.
It's pure resourcefulness.
Yeah.
High agency stuff.
Exactly. He saw the constraint, no money, no pro support, and immediately exploited the resources he did have. The students' eagerness, their cheap rates, their, let's say, flexible attitude.
It feels like he almost thrives on that kind of pressure, constraint-driven thinking.
It often seems like he seeks out that state of optimal stress, where the challenge level perfectly matches his skills, forcing these really creative, high-leverage hacks.
So the big lesson there is...
resourcefulness trumps resources.
Okay, let's shift tone a bit. That conversation in the desert with Mike, the time machine talk.
Ah, yeah. Very revealing. Mike's asked what mistake he'd fix, and he talks about a moral failing, something personal.
And Saul?
Saul says he'd go back and buy Berkshire Hathaway stock when it was cheap. Purely financial.
Wow. That contrast says everything, doesn't it?
It perfectly highlights two different core motivational systems. Saul is driven almost entirely by the external reward system, tangible, immediate, outside gain, money, status.
Whereas Mike is more about internal stuff.
Introspection, moral consistency, repairing past wrongs. It shows their fundamentally different cognitive orientations, the mental framework guiding their biggest choices.
If your compass only points to money,
it'll only ever lead you to the next deal, the next angle. It won't provide deeper meaning.
So the message for founders, especially when things get incredibly tough.
Don't make money your primary driver. It's an outcome, a byproduct maybe. It won't sustain you through the inevitable ethical tightropes and the sheer grind of building something meaningful. Meaning has to come first.
That focus on external gain also connects to how he explains things, right? Like money laundering to Jesse.
Oh, absolutely. Remember that scene? He takes this incredibly complex, illegal process.
Stuff that would normally involve flowcharts and accountants.
Right. And he breaks it down using the simplest, most intuitive metaphors, like owning a nail salon.
Making it instantly understandable for Jesse.
That clarity is strategic. It lowers the cognitive load, keeps attention hooked. No jargon, no complexity means no tuning out.
We could call that cognitive compression, maybe.
I like that. The skill of distilling complex stuff into simple, intuitive language. It's crucial. If you can't compress your pitch, your idea, into something easily graspable...
It won't stick. It won't spread.
Exactly. Simplify to scale understanding. If your pitch needs a glossary, you've already lost.
And that simplicity, that way of talking, ties into who connects with them, doesn't it? The famous line,
You don't need a criminal lawyer.
you need a criminal lawyer.
Jesse gets it instantly. His street sense tells him Saul's the guy.
Well, Walter, the academic, is repulsed.
That mismatch highlights, what would you call that? Product market fit for personality. Cognitive congruence is a good term for it. It's like product market fit, but for trust and connection.
So when your brain meets someone who just gets you,
Speaks your language, shares your worldview, even your level of rule bending, your brain releases chemicals like oxytocin, dopamine. It signals trust, engagement. Saul's style makes guys like Jesse relax. He's one of us.
he matches their cognition.
Perfect summary. Match the cognition of your customers. Don't try to be the sophisticated answer for a street-level problem or vice versa. Be the right fit.
Okay, we have to touch on his ultimate escape plan. The vacuum cleaner guy.
Ah, Ed Galbraith, the disappearer. Saul always had a plan B, or maybe a plan Z. Total system failure contingency.
Having a plan for complete meltdown. What's the mechanism there?
It's a form of mental time travel, the brain's ability to simulate future scenarios, run what-ifs, planning for the absolute worst.
So it's not just about having an escape hatch.
The benefit isn't just the potential escape. It's about reducing uncertainty now. Knowing you have a plan for disaster makes taking calculated risks today feel less terrifying.
Predictive imagination makes sense. Plan for the worst realistically, then you can operate more boldly in the present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But all these brilliant strategies, manipulations, escape plans, where does it ultimately lead him?
To Omaha.
Yeah.
Gene Takovich. Managing a Cinnabon. Hiding.
Totally hollowed out. The guy who could bend reality to his will is now trapped in this gray, fearful routine. Safe, yes, but emotionally dead. Think about the brain's internal conflict monitor, the part that flags when your actions clash with your values.
Okay.
When that system is constantly firing because you're consistently breaking your own moral code, it leads to chronic stress, burnout, emotional numbness. The thrill or the payoff from the win starts to fade.
The neural reward erodes over time.
Precisely. The money feels empty. The cleverness feels pointless. Because it's built on a foundation that violates something deep inside, moral shortcuts have a very real cognitive and emotional cost. Long-term meaning just evaporates.
Okay, this has been fascinating. Let's listen to some actionable tips for founders. How can they use Saul's genius without ending up like Gene?
Right. 3 key things. First, the how and why matter intensely. Do it ethically, do it morally, do it for the right reasons. Saul's brilliance is undeniable, the adaptability, the resourcefulness, amazing. But the moral compromises ultimately canceled out all the wins. Build something to last, not just to win the current game.
Okay, tip 2. Building on that. Remember the time scale. Bad decisions, unethical shortcuts often give you that quick dopamine hit, that short-term win. But the cost always gets kicked down the road, usually with interest. If your success is built on shaky ethical ground, the psychological reward will fade. You'll feel hollow eventually.
And tip 3, constraints are your friend. Seriously, embrace them. Saul proved time and again that outsmarting is better than outspending. Be incredibly adaptable, be relentlessly resourceful, just like he was. But, and this is the crucial difference, use that power ethically.
So Saul Goodman, an incredible case study in high-agency thinking, adaptability, negotiation under fire.
Phenomenal skills.
But the ultimate lesson seems to be, learn the craft, develop that resourcefulness, definitely. But remember that smart without a strong ethical compass isn't just risky. It eventually becomes a massive liability. It guarantees some kind of collapse, internal or external.
Well said. Thanks for your time and investment into our show. See you in the next episode.